This morning we have a special treat. Ed Killbourne, who will be here with us this week with his wife, the Reverend Kathleen Killbourne, who's sitting up front, leading us in our senior adult vacation Bible school. I know many of you have signed up. You can still sign up. We made some adjustments so that there's enough food for you, but please sign up like now, between now and noon. Let's do that so we can make sure there's food for you. But we're excited about that. I do want to, in a few moments after Ed brings the word, we will celebrate communion. That will be led by Reverend Kathleen Killbourne and my fiancée, Reverend Karen Cleaver. And y'all know Karen from being around and all that, but Karen is here participating this morning in the life of the church, leading us in worship, and was very active in helping us during the confirmation retreat, so she'll be at both services. We will be losing her presence here in this room on Sunday morning starting July 1st when she has taken a job at Central United Methodist in Spartanburg as pastor of discipleship or something thereof. So it's something like that. They're going to figure out a way to use her full gifts, and that's great. Also, and sitting on the front row, Britt Terry is here, friends of Ed and Kathleen and me and all that. And then, of course, my daughter flew in from San Diego for 30 hours to see me, which was wonderful, and she's the one that's serving in Japan in the Navy in San Diego now. But thank you for being here. It's been a wonderful pleasure. It's the first time I've seen her in 15 months, and it's been well worth it. Thank you. Yeah, it's all you, Ed.
The gospel lesson this morning in Matthew is the Holy Word. It is Scripture. It is a lesson, but it is more than that. It is one of our favorite pictures. Is it not? The picture of Jesus and children. So I want that picture to stay in your minds and in your hearts as we share in this morning's story. The children were being brought to Jesus by their parents. They wanted Jesus to bless them. And the disciples were saying, no, leave him alone. Jesus says that little children make me suffer. And Jesus said, no, that's not the way that goes. He said, let them come. Don't stop them. Let them come. These are my kind of people, he said. And then in the story, it ends with this scene, and keep this in your mind and heart too. Jesus took a child and held him or her, and it says that he laid hands on that child. Have you got it? They laid hands on me. A gathering of ministers, men and women, a bishop of the church had gathered around me. I was kneeling at the front of a little Methodist church. They laid hands on me. I was being ordained into the ministry to begin my journey in the church. All those men and women that gathered around me that day, when they were young, back in the day, they had to kneel somewhere and have hands laid on them. By people who, when they were younger, had to kneel somewhere and have hands laid on them. By people, well, you see how that would go? It would go back, way back. The tradition of the laying on of hands. But I'm going to say this morning, if those men and women that gathered around me that day, including the bishop, were here this morning, I would tell them, and I would. that morning when they laid hands on me, they had arrived too late. Because I do believe I'd already been ordained years before that by a woman. Her name was Willie Bell Yates. Willie Bell Yates ran a little church in the town where I was going to college. The church had a pastor who thought that he ran the church. A lot of pastors operate under an illusion. You hang around church and you find out there's all kinds of power in a church, but there are some people that have the power. Willie Bell Yates, she had the power. And one of the powerful things she would do is, if you grew up in that church, she would pick a day and she would take you aside and she would lay hands on you and proceed to tell you what you were going to be when you grew up. Now, you got to watch out for a person like that. And the day she got me, I did not see it coming. But after the service, I remember she drew me into a little room off to the side, and she put her hands on my shoulders and then lifted them to my head. And this is what she said. She said, little Ed, you are going to be a missionary when you grow up. Missionary. I'm going to be a missionary? My great-grandfather was a missionary. He worked on sailing ships that traveled the far northern coasts of far eastern Canada, up near the Arctic Circle, the land called Labrador. He was a chaplain. Tough country, had to be tough people, and even though I didn't know him, he had to be a tough man. His son, now that would be my grandfather, began to work on those ships as a telegraph operator. Then he went to the university and became a doctor. And went as a missionary to northern China, to Siberia, to Mongolia, where he built hospitals. While he and my grandmother served as missionaries in North China, they had 5 children, one of which, when she was 14, met the 17-year-old son of some missionaries from Japan. And a few years after that, those two married. And a few years after that, ta-da, my parents. And my parents went on to serve as, guess what? Missionaries in Korea and Japan and China for over 50 years. So you didn't really wander around our house when you were growing up wondering what you were going to be. Missionary was the family business. But being a missionary was the last thing I had on my mind that day. And so when Willie Bell Yates laid hands on me, I smiled and I went my way. And the years passed. Many, many years have passed, and over those years I've learned many things. But there's one thing I'm here to testify to here this morning, and that is I do believe that day when Willie Bell Yates laid hands on me, that woman knew exactly what she was doing. She understood something that took me some time to learn. That being a missionary was not the family business. Not something you do someday, someplace far away. I believe she knew that being a missionary is what you do in the next 5 minutes, or you don't do it at all. That being a missionary was simply this. You find out what you've got. You find someone that needs it. And then you go. And if that's too simple, let me just say it again. What have you got? Who needs it? Go. I do believe that Willie Bell Yates understood that. And so the hand of Willie Bell Yates rests on me this morning. Now, I didn't turn out the way my parents had expected or hoped. You didn't either. We're all somewhat of a surprise. My parents, they crossed the ocean. My father, I can still hear him now saying, "Oh, no, you are not a missionary. You're not a missionary until you cross the ocean." That was the tradition, to go around the world. I never did. Simpsonville. I'm in Simpsonville. They went to Shanghai. They went to Busan. They went to Seoul. They went to Beijing. Simpsonville. My parents crossed the oceans as they were sent to be in ministry. But I think Willie Bell Yates knew that being a missionary was not a matter of mileage or distance. In fact, and listen to this one carefully, I've met missionaries who've gone halfway around the world to work with people that I later found out they wouldn't live next door to back in this country. They wouldn't go to church with them or school. Some of you have lived long enough. You remember that day. Being a missionary is not a matter of distance or of geography. It's a matter of what have you got. Who needs it? Go. Jesus held a baby. You have the picture? Jesus held a baby. I want you to see that. And I'm going to ask you some questions. Like I say, we don't know if it's a little boy, a little girl. We don't know anything about it. No names, just the picture. You have it in your heart. Let's say that baby, and we don't know, but we can think about it. Let's just think that baby and maybe other babies that Jesus held grew up, okay? Probably one or two of them grew up and got to be old, like 50. Let's say that baby that Jesus held that day, that he laid hands on, grew up and got to be 50. Can you get that in your head? Got to be 50 years old. And when that baby was now 50, that baby did what we all do as we get older. That baby, now as a grown-up, held a baby. Is this getting complicated for you? I'll go back. Jesus held a baby. Baby grows up. And when they're 50, holds a baby. Okay, now let's say that baby grows up and gets to be about 50, and when they're 50, held a baby, held a child, held a grandchild, held a nephew, they're going to do that. Now it's getting more complicated. Let's say that baby grew up. And when they were 50, held a baby. Is that fairly safe to say? You start to see what's happening here. Jesus held a baby. It grew up. That baby grows up, holds a baby. That baby grows up, holds a baby. You see that? Let's say that chain continued, beginning with Jesus. Held a baby, held a baby, held a baby. How many people would it take? Are you good at math? Yeah. Good. That's what I need. How many people would it take to form a chain from Jesus, baby, 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 to you this morning? Wow. Can you picture that? A chain of people all the way back to Jesus. Be a lot of people. All the way. You'd think thousands of people, or at least hundreds. That if you're thinking thousands or even hundreds, you're not even close. Do you know how many people it would take to form a chain from Jesus to you this morning? Come on, little brains going, these people are just staring at me out here. Less people than are sitting on this side of the room this morning. Because it would only take 40 people to form a chain from Jesus to you. Now you're staring at me. Do the math. 2,000 years, let's just say 2,000 years. Every 50 years, how many times does 50 go into 2,000? I bet you he knows. 40, he said it. I heard him say it right out loud. And the adults are just staring at me like, no way. Come on, folks. I didn't make that up. That really happened. Jesus laid hands on his friends. And they went out and laid hands on their friends. Sent them into the world to be Jesus, and they went out and laid hands on their friends. And they went out and laid hands on their friends. And I just know somewhere back in the day, when Willie Bell Yates was a little girl, someone laid hands on her. And then she got old. And when she was old, she laid hands on me. And now, I'm old. And what I've done in my senior years is from time to time look around for someone young. And from time to time, I lay hands on them. And I say, you're going to be a missionary when you grow up. Now don't panic. Remember what he said? A missionary. What have you got? Who needs it? Go. Now what have you got? We don't know. You're just starting out. You're going to get good at some things, maybe other things not so much. But there's going to be some things that you will have. Then you've got to find someone who needs it. Now you're not going to find them on your phone or on a pad. You're going to see these people with the eyes of your heart. But one day you'll see them, and you'll know. And then it's going to be your turn to go. And when you do, one day, you're going to get old. Look around you. Yeah, it happens. You are going to get old one day. And when you are, here's what you need to do. Go looking for a young person. Go looking for a young person, and you lay your hands on them. You lay your hands on them, and you know what to say. What do you say? You're going to be a missionary when you grow up. When it's all been said and done, there is just one thing that matters. Did I do my best to live for truth? Did I live my life for you? When it's all been said and done, all my riches will mean nothing. Only what I've done for love's reward will stand the test of time. Lord, your mercy is so great that you look beyond our weakness, finding purest gold in miry clay, making sinners into saints. I will always sing your praise. Here on earth and ever after, for you've shown us heaven's our true home. When it's all been said and done, you're my life when life is gone.